when Worthy was around, stuff happened, and that's the way it was. And when I heard about it, it kind of hit me hard because his family is Worthy. He's always been around. I mean, you come to the park, he's always going to be doing something for somebody. You know, he's an ambassador to the park, to West 4th Street.
So as you saw in the beginning, James Worthy, a key member and pillar of the West 4th basketball court, passed away in December, and from my time documenting life in the cage, I felt like it was right for me to attend the candlelight vigil to not only honor him, but to further share how his life brought positive meaning to people who love playing basketball there. So I've been sitting and mulling over this thought around mid-fall, and Worthy's passing only reinforces this thought, and the question is photography a responsibility? And in this video, we're going to dive deep into my mind and how I introspect on stuff like this, and this is going to be a debate, so I would love for you to chime in on certain things that I say in the comment section, because I'm going to deliver a lot of facets, a little bit of a devil's advocate on my part, and all these other things that I really just kind of weighed and considered, because this video is serious to me and I would love to have a conversation with all of you. But before I continue, I would like to thank the sponsor of this video, Squarespace. Squarespace provides some of the industry leading tools for making a portfolio for photographers like us who want to be taken seriously. I recently renovated my website to be more focused on my documentary work. Squarespace allows a lot of customizability, from their award-winning templates to something as simple as changing the background to black. I love how my website feels more mature, and if I have any questions or problems, I know I can contact the 24/7 customer service to get myself squared away. You can start a free trial today at squarespace.com/ChrisChew. Use my code ChrisChew at checkout for 10% off your first purchase. Thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this video.
Well, I will say this, that Worthy was, like, in many ways, a protector of the park. Yo, you guys got to get off the court because we're setting up now. Yeah, that's sure. Worthy, right? All right, guys, last basket. For the guys that were playing on the court, got to get off the court.
So let's talk about how photography is a responsibility. Well, if you have a talent for it, motivation, creative direction, or you have the capacity to be a record keeper, so to speak, it would be a waste if you didn't exercise any combination of that, because there are a bunch of people who would die to be in your position, let alone own a camera like you do. And this thought process is specifically meant to focus on people who focus on other people and humanity in the photography. I think we can all come to an agreement that there is an inherent value when there are photographs that we make that capture humanity or the human condition at a certain point in time. New York City has taught me many things already. Everything moves quickly, whether that's places, businesses, or even the lives of individuals. And it's amazing for me to have this valuable lesson taught to me every single day. I have made a whole video about that and why I shoot black and white as a result of that. There's a link right here if you want to watch that. Our photos have inherent value because of its obvious ability to capture a moment in time, and I believe the more you have, the better it gets. Things happen every day, and sometimes life comes knocking, and now those photos that I have of a particular group of people in the summer, I'm going to see them again, and the memories are going to be worth so much more.
Our legend, I would call her a legend too, I do. She's always in the crowd, and she's also encouraging, and she also love-worthy, man.
Yes.
It was a bittersweet feeling to see some of the regulars that I used to spend every day with 4 to 6 months ago in the context of Worthy's passing. But that's how continuous documentation of life goes. You see them in the highs and the lows. I know Kanye is a controversial person to talk about right now, but allow me this segment to just speak about his 3-part documentary on Netflix. If you know anything about him, you know how important Donda West, his mother, played a role in his life and the tragedy it was when she passed. In part 1 and the first half of part 2 of the documentary, Donda West was alive and well. You got to see her warmth, her presence, and how she made Kanye smile through the way she speaks, through her involvement in his life. Every time I spoke about this doc with other people, I always always mention how bittersweet it was that we get to experience how warm her character was in that boundary of the documentary. And all fans of Kanye West know when that point is coming where she passes and how that greatly affects his life after that. And that is a beautiful and dark example of how our photography has inherent value and why we have a responsibility to keep records. Life can exist in your negatives, your raw files, your MP4s, your MOV files of anything that moves in this world. Which leads me to my final point in this part of the argument, and that is the human condition. Whatever global conflict is happening in the world, there will be a shade of that will be reflected here in New York City. I put out a video not too long ago of my outing to photograph the Israeli and Palestinian protests here in New York City, and that was on October 9th, 2023, and that's all I said in the video. This was a historical day, and I photographed both sides, which was kind of unusual for me because I thought that protests were usually just a one-sided affair. So it was really intense to experience the emotions and heat on this day. But anyways, I think some of us can agree that we should be sharing what's happening in the world through our photos, through our work. You should have photos, videos, and archives because this is human history. The context, the setting, the emotion, just everything is so important to share with the world. And everything that I just spoke about is stuff that happens outside of your home, like the things that happen within the four walls that you sleep in and live in. That already has like a lot of stories that you could photograph too. So if you have the ability, the creative direction, the motivation, the talent, don't you have a responsibility to use it?
My name is Sincere. Worthy is my big brother. I've known that man for over half my life. I'm 53. I've known him since I was 12. This is a sad day for me. Sad day for all of us here. He was a discreet king. He just wanted to see you laugh. He wanted to see you smile. You know, he's gonna be missed by so many people, man. This is a rough day. It's a rough day. It's a rough day. Rough day.
Now, I'm going to play devil's advocate and say that there is no responsibility in all of this. You could do whatever you want because it's your life after all. Nobody's going to go after a sculptor and say that, hey, why aren't you sculpting about the human condition? So there shouldn't be that level of responsibility on any photographer, any artist at all. We could talk about the obvious reasons why photography is not a responsibility, especially for people who just do this as a hobby. Go you, more power to you. But I want to jump to a bigger topic of this thing called the savior complex. Because your photographs don't save anyone. This complex is pretty evident in people who say this wouldn't have happened if I didn't make photographs of it. And those type of people are quite narcissistic. Because the fact of the matter is that you are one camera person in a million that just happened to be there with a camera. And in most cases, if you weren't gonna do it, someone else was gonna do it. There are admittedly in some cases where you did have an opportunity to create something special for a few or for the masses, but all of us are capable of doing that. I think a lot of creative people, let alone photographers, choose to do what they want because of their own personal reasons. So for you to place a responsibility on them that they have to do their job, most creative people will just laugh in your face because they did this out of the freedom of their own choice to begin with. Not everybody has to be mission oriented to create art. Creativity spawns from freedom, so to sort of take that away would be very unwelcomed. It's your life, so you could do whatever you want with your camera. If you have the talent, the motivation, the creative direction, the whatever, you don't have to exercise any of it. I photographed one protest. Does that mean I have to attend them all? No. I brought my camera to one basketball game. Do I have to attend them all? No. In the specific context of documentation and human interest stories, you don't have to photograph the entire spectrum of that category. You have the choice to dedicate and invest in stories that personally resonate with you. Which brings me to my final main point, which is I choose to do this out of the pure love of the people and the art.
He said, yo, Niecy, you don't know me. I'm big out here in these streets. I'm like, no, you're not. And I see everybody out here. And this guy on that same mic, what I told you, Niecy, I'm big out here.
Worthy was always ready to play. It don't matter. 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock.
I'm the shortest one in the family. You gonna let me play? I was over there busting ass playing for my sneakers, taking money off these cats, playing I can't ball and then shaking and baking them. Worthy taught me street knowledge. He taught me prep for veterans. He taught me just to keep doing what I do. He was like, that's you, do what you do. And I love that. I love that about him.
Anytime I came to the park, he was already here. He was like, yo, Dre, like just calling me from deep. I'm just coming up the train station steps and he see me from deep. He would gas the numbers a little bit, like that person got 45. And we would love it because he could be wrong as hell, but it just sounded good and it just kept people like glued to the game, kept them glued to the game. So I'll always love him for that and just love what he brought to the park on a day in, day out basis. Rest in peace.
Nobody's telling me to do any of this, and nobody is holding me responsible to continuously photograph a particular subject matter for their own sake. Because I know what my intentions are, I'm confident in my skill set, I've thought this through and how it'll affect people and myself, and I am confident in that decision. People that criticize me in what I do and how I do it, I can easily ignore because of the things that I just mentioned. There are so many factors that are completely out of my control that I've learned to accept, but the things that I can control are how I do my job, my reasons for doing it, and if I want to keep doing it despite these other obstacles that may come in my way. I've put on myself the responsibility to continuously exercise what I have, what I worked for, and what I know I'm capable of doing. I don't take any of that for granted. I do this from a mixture of the two aforementioned points. I do feel a sense of responsibility and mission for some things I photograph. I know I'm in a position to share stories and distribute them on my platforms. I know I can try to do good with my work. When I learned of Worthy's passing, I didn't have a second thought of attending the candlelight vigil. I knew I had to be there. West 4th is a near and dear place to me now, and the story doesn't end because the Summer League does. Like I said in my video about the spot, this place does more for people than just a sport. Basketball does so much more for people, and West 4th's characters do more for people than just facilitate a game. Worthy's history there has profound influence on a lot of people who have a shallow or deep connection to that court. For the protests here that happened in New York City, I want to document some of that and share some of that with the people who don't live here, like my friends and family back out west. I want to try my best to share both sides of a matter, but am I a photojournalist? No, I barely do this. But when I do volunteer to do it, do I want to try to do the best job that I can? Absolutely. I come from a passionate place for human interest stories, but you can't force me to do it. I'm nobody's savior. I don't have a melon-sized ego that think that my photographs can change, la la la. No, like I don't have that thought. I am on a long list of photographers and artists who have been at a certain time, at a certain place with a camera, and there will always be someone else who will document something way better than I have or many more times than I could, but you know, that doesn't stop me from choosing to do it today. I've operated on this mixture of love, responsibility, and freedom so that my art is not compromised from external factors. I do it for me and for the people that I want to serve. My photos are about others, not me. And there is that saying that every photo is a self-portrait, a reflection of the artist. And I hope my ethos comes out from the medium that I chose. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Please let me know what you thought about the main point, the second one that was more of a devil's advocate to myself, and this third one, my personal, I guess, conviction about what I do. Comment down below, subscribe, like this video, do all that thing, share with your friends, because I feel like this could be a really good conversation for people coming into this new year about why you do what you do. Is photography a responsibility? I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
I met Worthy in '99, came back in '07, and we had our ups and downs, and we got really, really close enough to go to the beach, close enough to hang out. When I lost my job, when I lost my mother, I lost my father and my grandmother. That man sat out here with me. Yeah, so thank you for all your words of wisdoms. Thank you for all the songs, for all the times we sang out here and had good times, laughed, messing with people, talking about something sweet as a candy bar that's telling me
That's what you are.
Hey, y'all family, y'all stay strong, man. Thank you for sharing your uncle, brother, son with the world. Right here at West 4th, man.